The O. Henry Playhouse presents The Emancipation of Billy. O. Henry didn't believe a bitter pill served by life necessarily meant defeat or disaster. In fact, he believed such a pill could in many instances create far more good than harm. And to prove his point, O. Henry wrote a story about Governor Thomas Pemberton and his son William, which he called The Emancipation of Billy.
Well, it doesn't seem possible. It's been 2 years since I stood on this here platform thanking all of you for giving me a vote of confidence again and for sending me back to Capital City. Of course, if I'd known 10 years ago what I know today, maybe I wouldn't have been so anxious to make the trip. But seriously, thanks to the inexhaustible pleas of our great, great friend, Governor Pemberton, the state legislature has allocated $150,000 for a new county hospital. I was hoping the good governor could be here to accept the thanks we owe him, but he's hard at work, and asked that we let his son, William B. Pemberton, deliver a message for him. Of course, we know Bill ain't as good as his daddy, but then again, who is?
Ladies and gentlemen, my father asked me to say that he's deeply proud that the men in the Capitol listened to his pleas for a new hospital, and that he prays only for continued strength, which he can utilize in helping to make Elmville the most desirable community in our entire state. I thank you.
Thank you, Uncle.
Darling. Oh, I'm so proud of you.
For what? For delivering my father's speech?
Oh, nevertheless, I thought you did extremely well. And you know, as I was listening, I was thinking, why not give up the law office and enter politics?
That's just what I shouldn't do, Carolyn. Do you realize they still call him governor? He hasn't been governor in 15 years. It's difficult enough just being his son. Imagine what it would be like if I went into his business.
Oh, but you're a good lawyer. You'd be a great politician.
Well, if I ever do run, I'll at least be sure of one vote, even if it's cast by my wife.
Absolutely incredible. A man like Governor Pemberton having such a lightweight son. Of course, that's the trouble these days. All the great men have got nothing son.
It's not true, Bill. Believe me, it's not true.
Well, let's just say a prayer of thanks. I don't have to prove whether it is or not.
Now, shall we continue the story?
Before you do, why not fill me in on some character background while you're sipping your coffee?
Very well. What would you like to hear?
Well, let's start with William Pemberton. What kind of a young man is he? Is he a lightweight, as the politician said? And, by the way, what is the politician's name?
Jeffrey Bromfield. Oh, excuse me, Carol. As for Bill, he lived all his life in Elmville, except for a few years in college. He graduated upper 10 in law school, and he married Carolyn the day he passed his bar exams. Does that fill you in, Carol?
All except whether he is a lightweight.
Well, I may not be accurate in answering that question. Perhaps when you've heard the story, you'll agree with Bromfield, and again, you may not. For myself, I found him quite interesting.
Now, about the father, Thomas Pemberton. What does he stand for? And why, after 15 years, is he still called governor?
Because in Elmville, he was more than just a man. He was a living legend. You see, there were many who still remember when their state was torn to shreds during the Civil War. And how, as a young major, he came back to the few remaining citizens of Elmville and told them that the war was over. How, instead of spending their lives mourning a lost cause, they pulled themselves together to bring themselves and the state back to its rightful place in the sun.
Sounds like quite a man.
He was. As a young major, he stumped throughout the state, made hundreds of speeches, brought hope and confidence to many lost lives. He was barely 30 when he was elected governor. And he retired from politics because of health when he was 50. Since then, he's dedicated himself to making his state the fairest in the land.
No wonder by comparison his son appears a lightweight. In all honesty, wouldn't anyone?
I imagine so.
Now, how about Bill's wife? She struck me as a level-headed young lady.
Indeed, she was. And very much in love with her husband. She decided that once and for all, she'd prove that Bill was every bit as capable as his father.
Oh, Carolyn.
Forgive me, Daddy Pemberton, for barging in like this. But I just had to talk to you. It's about Bill.
He's all right, isn't he?
Oh, physically, yes. But mentally, that's another thing. Well, living here in Elmville, always under your shadow. Always listening to the neighbors call him Governor Pemberton's son. It's destroying his ambition. And if he doesn't leave here soon, it's going to take his self-respect.
Carolyn, everything I own, everything I've ever built belongs to you and William. I'd do anything to make you both happy. He's a young man with a great deal of time in front of him. He'll find himself, honey. And when he does, he'll not only be a happier man for having done so, he'll also be a better man.
Time seems to be working against him. When we were first married, he had all these wonderful ideas for the future. Now every idea is just slowly dwindling away.
What do you want me to do?
How do you think he'd do in politics?
Oh, very well, if he liked it. Well, in fact, Carolyn, I've long cherished the hope that he'd someday pursue a political career. His law background would be quite helpful. I'll be expecting you and Bill for dinner tomorrow night. And I have an idea we're apt to discover he has some news that'll call for special celebrating.
Oh, I love you, Daddy. Bye.
Goodbye.
Can't say when I've enjoyed a dinner more, Governor.
I'm pleased to hear that, Jeffrey, because now I find it easier to tell you how much that dinner's cost you.
You just name it. No price could be too high for that pecan pie.
Tomorrow I want the Attorney General to offer my son the job of being his assistant. Let him say that the offer's based on his school record.
But he's already promised that plum to Tom Carter's nephew. We all did.
Well, that's too bad, Jeffrey. I know how distasteful it is for any of you gentlemen to walk away from a promise. However, I want the job given to William tomorrow. Now, let's stop talking business and enjoy this magnificent brandy.
I suppose there's no use arguing with you.
Has there ever been, Jeffrey? Has it ever really paid any of you to argue with me?
And then he said that Attorney General Grant Stevens wanted me to accept the job as his assistant. I tell you, I was absolutely speechless.
For an attorney, that can be calamitous. When do you leave for Capital City?
I told him I'd have to think it over. I said I'd give him my answer in the morning.
Good idea, William. Make them wait. They respect a man who carefully weighs all elements before arriving at a decision.
It's a big step, Father. It means leaving you, giving up my practice, my friends, tearing up all my roots.
Are you certain that's the truth? Or does the truth lie in the fact that you're afraid?
Well, that's a part of it, too. I've no doubt I could do the job, Father, but I do doubt if I could match your stride.
What exactly do you mean?
Well, to explain, I'll have to go back a long way.
Well, please do.
Do you know why I studied law?
Because you loved it.
Not really. Ever since I can remember, I've envisioned a firm of Pemberton. I studied law because I wanted to work side by side with you.
Well, I would have enjoyed that, too, but unfortunately, this slowed me down.
You know, ever since I've been old enough to think, I've always had one purpose in mind. I wanted to do things that would make you as proud of me as I am of you.
But I am proud of you, William. I've always been proud of you. And now with this appointment, I'm even prouder, if that's possible. Besides, I think it's about time another Pemberton threw his hat into the political affairs of our great state.
Well, that's what I meant earlier, Dad. Now, what happens if I'm not able to match your political stride? What happens if I turn out to be a lightweight?
Every intelligent man, when he comes to a new fork in the road, has the same qualms you're presently experiencing. And any man who walks down it without some doubt is a fool. If you weren't worried, I would be. No, William, you're not a lightweight. You'll not only match my stride, you'll do much better, I know.
Then you feel that I should accept the Attorney General's offer?
Well, from what you've told me, the Attorney General has taken considerable time to so thoroughly know your school record. And therefore, it would be terribly unfair if your answer were to prove that he'd wasted his time. Now, let's return to your wife. I'll have Peter bring us some champagne. Tonight could well be the beginning of many things. Who knows? Perhaps because of it, I may one day be toasting your inauguration as governor.
You know, Henry, whenever I hear a warm story about a father and son, I regret what bachelorhood has cost me. If I had married Adele Courtmeyer instead of going off to Paris, I very likely would have had quite an imposing family today.
Careful, Colonel. One of your many female admirers may offer to change your status. You're still quite young enough to raise a family, you know.
Come now, Henry, you're just being facetious.
No, only truthful. I've heard many times you're quite a beau brummel.
That's a complete falsehood. Besides, we're not here to discuss my social activities. Hadn't we better get back to your story?
Good idea.
I take it Bill accepted the job.
You should be a writer, Colonel.
Did he do well?
Better than well. He prepared for the Attorney General 3 briefs in 6 months. According to Grant Stevens and everybody else, they were beautifully drawn. You know, in a short time, capital cities stopped referring to Bill as Governor Pemberton's son and began to treat him with that respect reserved for a young man with strong potentials.
That's very interesting. Sort of proves the adage. Like father, like son. Chip off the old block. You know what I mean.
Yes, but I'm glad I didn't say it. Now may I continue?
Please.
Well, the Attorney General was so pleased with Bill's work that he gave him a special assignment.
It's all there, Grant. There's nothing really definite, but it's certainly loaded with suspicion.
Bill, for the first time in our association, you surprised me. What good can I do in court with suspicion? I need concrete proof that soldiers' pensions are being misused, that the state's funds are being dishonestly handled. Suspicion alone would have us laughed out of court. Now, do you think you can get me the information, or would you rather withdraw from the investigation?
Now, I've no desire to withdraw. Now, if there is a basis for my suspicion, one man may be able to tell me whether I'm right or wrong.
Then go question that man.
That man is Jeffrey Bromfield.
Bill, on the first day you came to work for me, I had a feeling you resented Jeffrey Bromfield. In fact, your actions has caused many whispers. Do you dislike him?
Yes.
Is your reason now to question him because you feel he has information that may give the state a case? Or do you question him in order to embarrass him?
Only to prove whether what I believe is fact or fancy.
He's one of the party's most powerful men. He can make a formidable enemy. I caution you to tread carefully.
I'll remember that, sir.
Bill, why do you feel that he may prove whether you're right or wrong?
Because he allocates all the money handled by the state. He also handles the soldiers' pensions.
Very well. But remember to be careful. Bromfield will not be pleased to learn that you've been secretly investigating his department.
My father always used to say that a person only becomes angry when they have something to hide. Well, it'll be interesting to find out if he was right.
Do you mean to tell me for the past few months you've been investigating my honesty, questioning my integrity?
I've neither questioned your honesty nor integrity, Mr. Bromfield.
When you investigate whether state funds are being properly handled, aren't you indirectly questioning my integrity?
Not at all. It's quite possible if there are any irregularities going on, they could be happening without your knowledge.
That's ridiculous.
Perhaps not. Now, for example, someone in your department might sign a contract with a construction firm for a new state building or a new state park after you'd approve the expenditure, right?
No, it isn't. Any such contract, even for a minor sum, is not only read by me, but also executed by me. I take my job and my oath of office seriously, young man. Now, if you've finished making a fool of yourself, I bid you good day.
But I haven't finished, Mr. Bromfield. There are a few additional questions I'd like answered.
And if I refuse to answer them?
Well, then I'd recommend to the Attorney General's office that you be subpoenaed.
Ask your questions.
Do you obtain bids on all state construction jobs?
No.
May I ask why not?
Because for 20 years, our state's been doing business with the same firm.
Like my predecessor, I too have found that this one firm is not only the most dependable in the state, but the most honest.
And that company is called the Burton Pem, am I correct?
You are?
What do you know about this company, Mr. Bromfield?
Nothing more than they get the job done.
Then you should know something else. The Burton Pem Company is a sham. Oh, they have offices here in Capital City, but once they're given a contract, they then contact the legitimate construction companies, ask for bids, and then grant the contract to the firm that allows them the greatest profit. One other thing, Mr. Bromfield. I'd like to know why this same company was given the assignment of handling the soldiers' pension checks.
Because 2 years ago, my department decided it was cheaper to pay the company a small handling fee than to add an additional 50 people to my department's payroll.
Do you realize, Mr. Bromfield, that in addition to the handling charge that you pay this company, they also receive another 5% from the veterans for having mailed their checks?
That's a very serious charge, and unless you have proof...
But I do have proof, Mr. Bromfield. 20 veterans are willing to swear under oath that they were forced to pay a 5% fee under the threat that their future checks would be stopped if they didn't.
What do you intend to do?
Turn over everything I have to Grant Stevens, along with a signed statement that I believe this company has stolen millions of dollars from our state over the years. I'm further going to recommend that you be charged with a mismanagement of state funds, and that the owner of the Burton Pem Company be made to stand trial for what I consider the worst crime since the treacherous act of Benedict Arnold. Now, sir, I bid you good day.
Pemberton. Before you do anything, I suggest you talk to your father.
Really, Mr. Bromfield, I know of your friendship with my father, but certainly you don't expect because of it that he'd ask me not to have you prosecuted.
You fool! Burton Pem is your own name, cut in half and reversed.
What do you want me to do, William? Deny your charges?
Can you?
No. So where does that leave us?
Why did you do it, Dad?
That answer is simple, William. I like money. I like the power it buys. The Burton Pem Company controls the entire state. It makes senators, congressmen, governors, and in time it'll be strong enough to make perhaps a president. I like that thought very much, William, very much indeed, because it means that I will have given our state once again a powerful voice.
How can you talk like that, Dad? Your company has bled this state for years. You've stolen millions of dollars. Now, don't tell me you did it because it was good for the state.
You're too altruistic, William. That's a bad trait for a politician. What my company took from the top didn't cheat anyone. The people still got their parks, their buildings, their hospitals. What I gave them was an organization strong enough to prevent outsiders from stealing and giving nothing. My profit was a fee, and I've always felt entitled to it.
But they trusted you, and you cheated them. Well, maybe I could forgive the stolen money, but how do you explain the soldiers' pension checks? The rotten, dirty 5% blood money that you take?
Study the facts. I fought harder than anyone else to have the soldiers' pension bill passed. Without my aid, it wouldn't have passed. The 5% is certainly a small enough payment for my time and services. And because of my efforts, the soldier gets 95% more than he ever dreamed of seeing. Now I'll go back to Capital City and forget the whole thing.
Will you close the Burton Pem Company?
Of course not. In time, it will be yours. And if it still conflicts with your noble ideas, you may close it. As long as I remain alive, so will my company.
Not if I turn over my records to the state's Supreme Court.
William, let us speak honestly. Your records could embarrass a great many people, tarnish reputations, interfere with fine careers. Do you think so many should be hurt because someone suddenly aspires to become a champion of virtue? To survive, one must be strong no matter what it may cost.
Are you threatening me?
Even a son can't be permitted to stand in my way for long.
Dad, don't you see what's happened? You've deluded yourself into thinking that what you've done was for the good of the state. But you're wrong. You're blinded by a lust for power. Well, you've lost sight of what decency means. And unless you're stopped, you'll destroy everything, including the people who trust you.
Are you going to stop me, William?
All the way up from Capital City, I kept asking myself that same question. I kept hoping that you'd agree to close the Burton Pem Company. and that you'd see things in their rightful light. If you could, then I could forget the past.
Stop talking like a young boy with dew in your eyes. I haven't committed any crime, nor am I ashamed of my company. If I had to do it again, I wouldn't change a thing. Don't you understand, William? My conscience is clear.
I know, Dad. And that's what makes it so wrong. This is the most difficult thing I've ever had to say in my life. I'm going to try to stop you, Dad. I'm going to expose you. Because if I don't, then my conscience will never be clear.
I warn you, there isn't a jury in this state that will convict me. I'm not just a man to them. I'm their religion. And when it's over, I'm going to teach you a lesson. I'm going to make you a laughingstock the world will never forget.
Maybe you will. But I'm going to try. Because you see, I believe in people. I believe in giving them the best form of government that's possible. And I believe that form of government stems from their voting for the man they want. I don't believe in companies like the Burton Pem, who with a few dollars buys their votes and who might eventually imprison their souls.
That must have been quite a trial.
It was. Thanks. From the first headline to the last day of the trial. People acted as if they were sitting on a mountain of dynamite. Bill was appointed prosecutor, and his father announced he'd act as his own counsel. You know, thanks. It was one of the most sensational trials ever held. Bill fought with facts, and his father entered a plea of confession and avoidance.
I don't understand. What does that mean?
Simply that old Governor Pemberton admitted the act but denied the crime. You see, Bill argued loud and furiously, but he lost on a technicality. The jury determined there was nothing in the state statute that prevented a company from being assigned to a contract, then auctioning off the contract to create a profit for the company.
Then it's obvious Governor Pemberton made certain the jury consisted of nothing but his friends.
I don't think so, Colonel. Because the jury determined that in the future there should be laws that would punish men like Governor Pemberton. Governor left the court that day a free man.
Free also to make a laughingstock of his son.
Free enough to try. And that's exactly what Billy said to his wife after the court's decision.
It's up to you, Carolyn. He's free now, and he'll go about making his promise good. If you want, I'll resign. We can go west and build another life.
But what do you want to do, Bill?
I know it sounds kind of silly, but I'd like to stay. I'd like to take the argument to the people. Make them realize that they alone have the key which can end men like my father and companies like Burton Pem.
We have things to say, William.
The verdict gives you the right to say it all.
I don't agree. I didn't win today. You did. There wasn't a member of the jury that didn't want to send me to prison. There's not a person in this state, excepting my political colleagues, who doesn't hate the sight of me. I'm free because legally the people's hands were tied. But you showed them how to untie their hands. You also showed me what I'd forgotten. No person, no company is ever bigger than the people, or they are the law of the land.
That's a very pretty speech. It's too bad you didn't make it in court. It might have helped.
There's something else. Tomorrow, the Burton Pem Company will be a thing of the past. Not a very pretty thing, but an evil reminder of what can happen if the people ever forget their most precious inheritance. Their right to vote as they see and believe. But it won't be remembered for long. Unless...
Unless what?
Unless there's someone around to keep reminding them. That's your job, William, and it won't be easy. Because there are men like me who'll battle you tooth and nail. You may even lose the battle. And there's only an outside chance of winning. What do you say?
Will you be on my side?
No, Daddy.
Well, did he keep his promise? Did he close the Burton Pem Company?
Uh-huh. In fact, he did more than that. He told the newspapermen everything that he had earlier said to his son. He branded himself guilty, and at the same time added that if the people didn't act, they too could be branded guilty.
Well, what finally happened?
Well, the governor was right. It's a brutal fight. But election proved the people not only listened, they acted too. The machine was defeated and the old guard sent home. The governor's prophecy had come true. He toasted his son's inauguration as governor.
That's wonderful, O. Henry. And you know, the old man was right. In the final analysis, our people are the law of the land.
That's the first thing you've said in many a moon that I can't disagree with, Colonel.